All right, season 3 is back, and I'm really looking forward to it tonight. I got my co-host Ben with me. Ben has been on one other episode with me, but we're looking to do some more this year. But season 3 of the Marshfield Outdoor podcast. This season's theme is the faithful outdoorsman. I'm kind of building off of last season's theme from Seek Your Purpose. We kind of went through a lot of people's stories and how they their hunting lifestyle and the way hunting has developed them into the person they are, and talk about some different things. This season, again, we're going to go through a different format. I'm really excited about this format. I think that a lot of people can get a lot out of it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to obviously relate it to hunting and tell some hunting stories, or have some people on that are from the industry and talk about their what they do professionally. But at the end of it, the second half of each episode, we're going to do a little Bible study, which is nice. I think it'll be something to help us. Ben and I have been best friends since kindergarten, so we're 33, 34 now. Yeah. Have 2 kids and a wife, both of us, and it can never hurt. So we're going to dive into some different things. Tonight's going to be a much more of just an introduction type story or episode, and looking forward to it. So first, I guess we can get into hunting season. Ben's had an up and down hunting season with work and weather
very
and
up and down.
Just trying to get to go. But why don't you talk about your hunting season a little bit and what's going on?
We started off bow season really hunting a new spot and was really, really pumped up about it. And it was looking to be really promising. We had beans on one side, I was corn on the other side. We knew about the end of black powder they'd cut that corn, which they did. But we've had a lot of deer on camera. We've had a lot of good deer on camera, but they're still, even this far, they're nocturnal, and I don't know why. My number one target buck, he was on camera. It was a Sunday. I was supposed to go. I thought I was going to go, but that morning I was informed that there was a hair appointment that took importance over the deer, and I was laying on the couch with the kids watching the Disney movie Big Hero 6, and that little bring, and I was like, uh-oh. I said, ease my phone out, and I looked, and my heart just dropped. I mean, dropped. It would be the biggest deer of my life. So he's now named Hero. There's a big 6 down there that I'm looking for, but Dad's been after him. Every day this week. Nothing during the day. But everything's at nighttime. So yeah, Dad killed a really nice doe 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Dad's not really a horn hunter, but so it's been really up and down. You've had a little bit more success than we have.
Oh man, I tell you, it's been tough. Standing corn is probably my arch nemesis.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It's good for late season. Mostly if you can get some cut and leave some standing, so you can see. But it seemed like the deer just stay there, hang up there, and it was tough. Bow season was tough. I did shoot a doe with the bow. Shot at another one early season. Missed that one, shot the next doe, and ended up losing her. I don't really know what happened. She was quartering to me a little bit. Maybe it was a little bit harder than I was thinking.
Yeah.
But we did not find her. First weekend of black powder. First time I've ever really done this. I hit the grunt and the estrus bleat, and within 30 seconds, a minute, there was a buck coming to the food plot there, and I ended up taking him.
Yeah, neither one of us have really been callers during.
Yeah.
We normally leave the call into the goose field and stuff. But,
right. So I don't know. I mean, that was something that was new to me, was the calling part, and it ended up working.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I actually saw it on TikTok, and that's what made me think of it.
Good old TikTok.
Yeah.
They want a lot of things on TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok's very informational.
Yeah. Other than that, I did have my longest shot this year.
You did,
the doe. She ended up being about, I think I ranged her at like 263 yards.
Yeah.
And I was successful last year with that Sika deer that was about that far.
Yeah.
And so, the big thing is just knowing your gun.
Yeah.
So ended up shooting her at 263 with the 270 and
stretched the legs out on that old 270.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it, but I heard the whop. She jumped up in there and down she went, and I was like, Dang. I was like,
That's what it's all about.
rather be lucky than good
Yeah,
any day, I
exactly,
guess. But
exactly.
we've had fun. I think one of the first that both of us had, I had a bobcat on camera,
Yes.
and you just told me tonight that you had a bobcat on
Yeah,
camera.
I TikTok again. I was telling you I saw where they say, and I can't remember who it is. He's got a really good platform, but he was saying that your cell cams, they work on a server, so when that picture snaps, it starts saving that picture. But sometimes there's an overlay to where not every single picture that is taken is uploaded to the server and sent to your phone. So he's like, guys, you got to get out there and pull this. You got to pull your cards and check them to know hardcore facts what you have. So tonight, Dad had pulled the one card for me earlier this week. I was at Mom and Dad's going through there looking, and bam, it's a big cat too. Like for around here, it's a big cat, and
Yeah.
it's 30 yards from my stand. But again, it's nighttime. I've never
I
seen it in
don't
daylight.
know if I've ever seen one.
I've seen one in the daylight. Dad and I were squirrel hunting, and we were just sitting on a ridge, watching this little bottom, and Dad just like, don't move. So I thought, get a whole mess of squirrels, get ready to start acting up. But no, and this little cat come up. But this was a small cat. The one on camera, it's big. I mean, it's a nice cat. It'd be a mounder cat.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely,
cool.
yeah.
Well, for anybody that's new to the podcast, or anybody that has listened and doesn't know, Ben and I are here from Virginia. We're about 60 miles south of D.C., kind of in the suburbs now. A lot of urban
Bad
sprawl
as that
going,
sounds
but
so bad.
we've grown up here. My parents also, my mom got remarried and lives down in Dinwiddie County. So between here and the southern part of the state, run back and forth and do a little bit of hunting. My brother Brady ended up killing a really nice deer on a new property in Amelia, which he hasn't killed a deer in 8 years, I think it is.
Yeah, he says like 8 years. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, I've been on a doe rampage, but I haven't killed a nice buck in probably 8 years.
Right. So yeah, he went to school, Radford, and then Virginia Tech, and took a job in Pulaski County, and then he really didn't have anywhere to hunt down there. I mean, I think he tried public land a little bit, but with his job, new family, actually really being away from the rest of the family that far, he had a lot of responsibilities. But
that's hard.
now that he's moved back,
Hard
he's
mountain
taking
hunting
a
too.
great job in Amelia, and he was real lucky to get that deer. I mean, it was a beautiful deer. Him and I had sat in that stand the weekend before. We see 9 does, I think I told you, 9 or 10 does,
like
and Amelia in the regular firearm season has doe days, so it wasn't a doe day. Which I'm glad we actually checked.
It's hard for us coming from up here.
Yeah, I'm glad we checked the regulations because, when you're in a county or hunt bordering counties that kind of have the same regulations, when you go that far, sometimes you don't think to check the regulations. And I was like, man, we're going to burn the does up first day of rifle season. And I'm glad we checked because we would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and then you feel bad. Like when you realize that, you feel bad for like those dog clubs down there because there's so many does. Like y'all saw 9 does your first set out there. So those guys run those deer day in and day out, and they don't even get to pull the trigger on it. And it would eat me alive. Like I couldn't do it. It'd be so hard. Yeah. But Dinwiddie, by the way, shout out to the Generals. Just won a state champion, 65-20. Hard for me to say because I'm a Fauquier boy, and they're up against a Fauquier team. But yeah, shout out to the Generals.
Yeah, I could tell you, Coach Mills he came in my junior year, I guess it was, or maybe sophomore year. I graduated in 07. Well, we graduated in 07, and I tell you, he turned that program around, and it has been a powerhouse program.
Powerhouse. My nephew, I think he went to the game, and he was like, those were men.
Well, I think 2 of the running backs had 1,000-yard seasons apiece.
Yeah, they didn't have one ball carrier with 1,000 yards. They had 2. And I'm pretty sure the quarterback, I might be wrong here, but I think he's the #1 offensive player in the state.
Yeah. No, I wish we could have went.
My nephew was like, look, when Kettle Run come out, I was like, yeah, I know those guys they're big kids. He said, when Dinwiddie come out, he said, those were grown men across
corn-fed.
Corn-fed boys, yeah. That's right.
No, that's awesome, yeah. So I went to high school in Dinwiddie, which Ben knows, which was kind of the separation of us because my mom remarried, moved back down right before high school, and but now Morgan and I have moved back to Culpeper, and now Ben and his family live 7 minutes down the road?
Yeah, 7 minutes down the road. Yeah. And for our young listeners out there, if you think a heartbreak with your first girlfriend's bad, try your best friend leaving you. Yeah, that's pretty tough.
We sit on the phone for hours.
That was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But we're back now.
Yes, back and enjoying it. Enjoying raising the kids together.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I have a lot of plans for the podcast season this year. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, I kind of want to just do an introduction to things. We're going to roll into some different things and actually talk about a Bible verse that is on my Instagram, the Marshfield Outdoor Instagram, and kind of go over that. But the biggest takeaway I think that I've gotten from the podcast world, because to be honest with you, until a year ago, I never even listened to a podcast really.
I don't think I have either.
And now I'm ate up with them.
Yeah.
And I enjoy making them. But I've met people from all over this country, which you were at the show, and how many people did we meet at the show and talk to?
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah, so it's been interesting talking with people kind of within the same mindset of what, kind of how we grew up and what's important to us now, family, faith, family, and the outdoors.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think this podcast is really, the 2 months that I took off in I guess October, November, now we're into December, yeah. So the 2 months I took off from recording, it wasn't because I didn't enjoy it anymore. It's just, I wanted to get some hunting in and it just takes some time. But now you're, building off of last season and seek your purpose. What is our purpose? I thought about that a lot. And Ben, I think you kind of hit it on the head the other day when you were talking about you and your dad about what he says about church.
Yeah. Dad, Dad's always told me. Dad's always been, a church-going man, but he's always told me that his church is the woods. His church is the goose field. His church is, anything that he's doing outdoors, because it's not that he doesn't get anything out of, Sunday service at church or anything like that, but he feels closer to God and closer to his faith when he is actually in God's creation.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets to sit there, we get to sit there, all of us who enjoy this, this sport and this passion. We get to watch the world come alive, and that's all of God's creations. Like, you get to see those sunrises. You get to see, that little nest of squirrels come alive in the morning. You sit back, and he said that's his biggest time to reflect, and really he feels more of that presence in the woods than he does in church. And like I said, he's not taking anything away from church. He's a church-going man, but it's just, I think it's the way we connect.
Yeah.
Is because we see his creations and we see what he has done for us. I mean, it's raw. We see it raw every morning, every evening.
Well, and I think the big thing about the verse we're about to get into is, one, the Bible is written for everybody.
Right.
It can relate to you with whatever you do.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm going to be straightforward in this first episode because I want to relate to people through this. I want to bring people closer to maybe wanting to pick up their Bible, but I haven't read the Bible except for here and there. Throughout my whole life, or listened to a sermon about a passage. Right. So to me, it almost was overwhelming when I did try to read.
Absolutely.
Because, especially if you get into the Old Testament, it's very overwhelming.
Right.
But over the last month and a half, I actually have an app on my phone, and it's kind of just come to me natural. I kind of went to the New Testament and started with Matthew, Mark, going into Luke.
Right.
And I don't know. It just kind of hit me. I was like, this may be relatable to somebody out there, because one thing I kind of learned real quick to break down the Bible is the Old Testament is the prophets and the law. Moses brought the law, 10 Commandments. Obviously, there's a lot more, but if you want to break it down really quick, the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, those are when Jesus was here. And next week, we're actually going to get into, I think, Mark. But there's no better way to start building that relationship with Jesus besides reading about when he was here.
Correct.
Having that kind of relationship and understanding he was a man that walked this earth.
Right.
So I think that's going to be interesting. And then, once Jesus dies, the resurrection, everything, it goes, the rest of the Bible's into he's coming back.
Correct.
So those are kind of the three things I've picked up on over the last month about what the Bible kind of is and how it breaks down. But let me see your phone real quick, because my phone's video recording.
There you go.
So on my Instagram page, something that kind of always stood out to me, especially, this is a year ago. So we've been doing Marshfield Outdoors for over a year now.
Oh, yeah.
It was September last year when we started at 2021, sorry. And, I've seen a lot of different a lot of people in the hunt community, the one thing about them, and most of them are faith-based
Oh yeah.
men and
Oh
women,
yeah.
which is really neat. A really awesome community because of
Yeah.
how big it is anyway. And I see scriptures used as go take up your bow and quiver and hunt game for me.
Right.
A lot of people use that, and I was kind of looking for something that really resonated with me.
Right.
And when you get into Genesis, at this part is kind of right after the flood. To be honest with you, it's right after the flood. The waters receding. Noah and his family come out of the boat, and God is actually talking to Noah,
Right.
which to me is really interesting because this actually came from God to Noah
Right.
during this account. So Genesis 9:2-3, verse 2 is the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea. Into your hands they are delivered. I'm just going to stop at 2 real quick and then I'll pick up with 3 in a minute. But as a hunter, there's no better verse. That obviously as a faith-based person, there's tons of better verses.
Right.
But as a hunter, we're looking
Right.
at a hunting
Oh yeah.
aspect right now. This is where the origin of hunting began.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it, and you can jump in a minute, but I was kind of doing a little bit of research on it. Didn't know, some people didn't know if, everybody, Adam and Eve, and
Right.
before the flood, people were just vegans, vegetarian.
Right.
After the flood, God gives this commandment of these animals are yours.
Right.
You have domain over them.
Correct.
And if you've ever, what is the one noise that you cannot stand in deer season?
I'm not even going to embarrass myself and try it. But that old nanny,
The
that
old
nanny
nanny.
goat that blows at you.
Look, and we didn't even talk about this before, and I knew that's what he was going to say. So, yeah, they have a sense of
Yes.
human beings.
Yes.
Every single thing. You walk in the world, you walk in the woods, squirrels scurry,
Absolutely.
deer gone.
Yes.
There are, obviously, we have pets, we have things
Right.
that we have domesticated,
Right.
but they are, you can trace them back to a wild,
Right.
free range type
Correct.
situation.
And
And even now, dogs and stuff are still scared of you, but
Yeah.
this is where the birth of our, heritage began.
Right.
Because without it, it would just be killing or sacrificing.
Correct.
I think before then they,
Right.
were still sacrificing.
Right.
But here, I just picture like a 180-inch deer and a doe staying there, and they're like, "What did he just say?"
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. They're standing
I'm
in the
gonna go over
field.
to Virginia,
Right.
Across the Great Divide, and go over to Virginia and land there, away from wherever we
Right.
are right now with
Exactly.
Noah and his family.
Exactly.
So it's almost like he did that, and then all of a sudden I just picture all of them just scurrying.
Yeah. We got to go. Now, yeah. There you go. Exactly.
And that was the first doe
And
blow.
that was the first doe blow. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll go into 3 real quick, and we are going to talk about this a whole lot, but every moving thing that lives shall be food, which is important.
Right.
Shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. So not only did God make, the animals dread us, but he gave us a gift.
Oh yeah.
He gave it as nourishment,
Right.
which, to me comes with, if your dad gives you a gift.
Right.
You take care of it.
Oh yeah.
Shotgun.
Oh,
You
yeah.
oil it up after we hunt
Oh,
in the
yeah.
rain.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Right.
So when you look at this and look at how, this is a gift from God to us
Right.
as man and woman on this earth as nourishment. But with that comes responsibility of stewardship.
Right.
And I don't think there's any better time than now to say that land stewardship and habitat management and habitat improvement is taking off like crazy. Like
Right.
more people are interested in it because I think we've seen some decline, especially in turkey population down the southeast of the country. But it's really neat seeing how all this is coming back.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and I guess to wrap all this back into what your dad says, and I think both of what we say all the time. Do you ever think that because this is like almost like an ordained situation by God, that's why all of us feel so much connection to him? When you walk into those woods, you're turned off from even a church building,
Right.
which we still need a community like that.
We
But
need that fellowship
Mhm.
of a group.
when you walk into the woods, it's pure.
Yeah.
There's a
I mean,
purity about hunting.
Yes.
Purity about seeing that sunrise, that sunset, the wind shift, the leaves blowing, the animals, the turkeys, the
Right.
turkey coming out in the fall and hitting the cornfield. But
Yes.
I don't know. I just think that, it's very interesting to see how we can date back, our heritage of hunting
Yeah.
back to this moment.
Right.
So I just think it's pretty neat. And I don't know, one thing I want to do more with this podcast this season is I want more interaction. So, if anybody's out there and wants to email in marshfieldoutdoors@gmail.com, I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to, I'm not a preacher. Ben's not a preacher. We're not scholars in this. This is
No.
two old country boys sitting here talking and sharing their faith and diving deeper in their faith and their love for hunting and outdoors. So email us, marshfieldoutdoors@gmail.com, and, pick our brain. Give us your thoughts. Give us your insight on it. Because, like I said, one thing that the Bible does, it is for everybody. So other people may have a different viewpoint
Oh yeah.
of what this is.
They might read it, agree with us, and also they might see it from a different view, and they might open us up to, oh yeah, I didn't even think of it that way.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things that you can talk about when it comes to the Bible and verses. As I see it this way, you say it that you see it this way, and then we're like, man, your point's really good. Man, your point's really good.
Yeah.
And then you just can put them together and then share it to the next person with our two views put together, and it makes one. And that's just how it goes. I mean, it works out. But yeah, this one here definitely, I'm with you. It's definitely the root, because like you said, it's everything that we hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, he didn't just give us the deer. He didn't just give us the turkey, the squirrel. He gave us everything. And if you think about it, like you said, everything knows we're there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the best you can to hide, but even when you kill deer like this,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they always know something's there.
Yeah.
Because they're always on that edge, because they fear you and dread you.
Mm-hmm.
And, even, let's get away from the ever skittish whitetail, geese.
Yeah.
They're hard. They're hard. They flare. If it's not perfect, they don't want it.
We're like, give them one more round.
Yeah, give them one more round. I'm like, one more round? They didn't even want that round. They just took a lucky, well, boys, we might as well try it one more time. But I don't know. George, you better be right on this one, because if not, I don't know. But, yeah, so, everything, you can't even walk out your front door, and if there's a bird sitting on your front porch, it's going to fly off when you walk out, because it fears you.
Right.
It fears you. And, but with that fear, like you said, it comes with a sense of responsibility. I called Dad, like I said, 2 weeks ago. I was sitting in the bottom stand. He was up top, and I heard his gun go off, so instantly texted him, what is it? Where's, so nothing from him. And he finally calls me. And I was like, what are you doing? Is it? He said, I got her. She's down. I was like, all right. He said, I'm gonna sit a while, so just, we'll sit till dark and then come on up. So I sat till almost dark. I couldn't, even a doe, you get excited. Like, you want to get up there,
Yeah.
especially when you haven't seen a deer on the ground all year. So I got down about dark and walked up, and my phone started vibrating in my pocket, so I pulled it out. And I was like, you all right? And he's like, yeah, I just got down. And he said, I just got done thanking the Lord, So Dad, and he taught this to me, and I know you do it, and I know there's probably thousands, millions of hunters that do this every time. But every time Dad harvests an animal, now geese, we pile those up a little bit, so it's a little bit different. But like a whitetail or something that's that intimate, because that's an intimate hunt. That you're harvesting an animal in a very intimate fashion. You're looking through the scope at that animal. So he goes over, kneels down, hands on it, and he thanks the Lord, not only for the animal, for the day, for the ability to do that, for time with his son. And after every hunt, when it comes to waterfowl or dove or anytime Dad gets done hunting, successful or not, he's still thanking the Lord for the time that he's given him and the opportunity, the health to continue doing it. Dad's 63 now, 64 in March coming up, so just to be able to still get out there and do it every day. But I think that's one of the biggest things with this passage too, is that they fear us, they dread us, but we got to respect them for that. Yeah. Because they're very beautiful creatures that were given to us. Now I know we got to
Yeah.
pay for our hunting license and stuff to do it for our different states and everything. These animals are given to us,
Yeah.
so we definitely have to, like you said, something's given to you by your dad, a gun, anything, a truck, your first truck, you're
Take
gonna
care of it.
respect it. I remember getting my first truck. You wash that thing every week.
Yeah.
Now I paid for it myself, and it ain't seen water in 3 years, except for a rain shower. But yeah, that's a big thing about that is the respect of that animal.
Yeah, and that's what really kind of just hit me when I read this passage is it just takes me back to like I'm literally just sitting there thinking about that boat. I think it was over two football fields long, and just how massive this ship was, and the waters receding. You're the only people left there on Earth
Right.
after God cleanses the earth, and all the animals are there. And one thing for me is like if you think about it from Noah and his family's point of view, what do you think happened to all the vegetation after that flood receded? There's probably not
Oh,
any vegetation
no,
there
no,
because the water had been sitting on it for so long.
correct.
So another thing that just popped in my head is like, well, God knew that they had to have some type of nourishment,
Right,
and all of a sudden, you have all these animals
right,
here that needed to be repopulated,
right,
which I'm sure they did. Well, obviously they did, and but at some point in time, they had to continue to, not just be gatherers. It became a hunter-gatherer
right.
situation.
And with that sense of respect and everything, who took care of those animals on that boat?
Right.
Somebody had to keep them alive. So right
Mm-hmm.
there, that started our responsibility, and respect to these animals,
Yeah.
that were given to us. That, all right, I mean, it goes back that far, and that leads into, what my prior work history was and my college degree and everything, and what your dad and mom and and everybody's still doing today is farming. I mean,
Yeah. I was getting ready to go down that route
yeah,
too.
I mean they are, yeah, we think alike. 30 almost 30 some years
Yeah.
together, we think alike. But so was Noah the first farmer? Was he the first? Was he the first?
Well, I think Adam and Eve would have been
Yeah, they would have been the
I
first
guess
farmer, but
in
I
the
guess
garden.
Noah would have been the first. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Herdsman.
Herdsman. There you go. I mean, is
Yeah.
he the first herdsman? I mean,
Probably.
think of the animals he had on there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that job.
No, he
You
was
me
the
talking about
first
dairy?
commercial herdsman.
You me talking about dairy farming?
Oh,
Can you
man.
imagine? Can you imagine that
If
boat
there's
full
a
of
dairy
animals?
farmer out there listening, I respect you.
Hey, God bless y'all.
Yes,
Yes, we
because
love y'all.
I did it. I guess Nick and I did it in high
Yeah.
school together. We got some good stories, but it's just not for me. That's a
That's,
hard
that's
lifestyle.
yes, it is. You have to love that,
Yeah.
and I truly feel that's got to be in you from birth.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel that.
Yeah.
Because
God made a farmer, right?
yes, it's got to be. Because that is that's a tough way of farming.
Yeah.
My utmost respect to those guys and women, because there's
Yeah.
young women in that industry as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean that was the route I was kind of go down. When you look at us as a community, there's a lot of farmers that hunt.
correct. Yes.
I would say most farmers hunt.
Most farmers hunt.
The deer, I'm sure, terrorize their cornfields.
Oh
but,
yeah, bean fields.
Um, but what I was getting at with that is, people looking at us as a community from the outside, unless they are faith based and know this passage, or maybe
Right.
they don't. Some people don't understand the lifestyle that we live
Right.
through hunting or
Right.
farming.
Right.
But there is a care, there's a tenderness there
Yes.
that we have for these
Yes.
animals.
Yes.
We don't mind paying that money, that monetary amount for hunting license
No.
and duck stamps and goose stamps and out of state stamps and 3-day hunts and
Right.
3-day fishing license
Right.
and I just don't think that. I think there's a gap there that obviously people don't understand
Right.
what we feel.
Right.
But at the same time, some people probably don't understand where their meat comes from that aren't vegetarian or vegan or anything like that. And they go to the grocery store.
Right. And I was kind of thinking, you and I and people like us, we look at that passage and we think about our hunting aspect of that. Now this is where we could touch people who know a little bit about hunting, don't know anything about hunting, or despise hunting because their view on that might be, well, yeah, he gave us, the beast of the land, like the cows, that are at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say you could have, but he's right here. He's telling us every beast.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see where that's
Yeah.
interpreted as, well, that's why we have farms. That's why we have beef. That's so we don't need to mess with the deer. But he gave us that privilege,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel as long as we respect that privilege.
And look,
And do
the
it the
thing
right way.
is, like, if you don't hunt, and this is biblical, scientific, if you do not hunt, there is going to come something that kills that population of animals because
Yes.
they're going to outgrow its ecosystem.
Yes. Yes.
Hunting is conservation. And I think we've said it
100%.
100 times, but, you know, you can go back and listen to two episodes about the elk
Right.
reintroduction.
Yes. Yes.
Now, there was no when the settlers first came here. There was an eastern elk, I think it was,
Right.
what Jackie was telling me, and obviously it went extinct.
Right.
So Virginia DWR has done an awesome job reestablishing the population of elk down in southwestern Virginia. But like I said, I don't know. Maybe the stewardship part of this verse
Right.
didn't resonate with people then
Right.
because they didn't have the luxury of a
Right.
supermarket.
No. Yeah.
They had to eat
Right.
to make sure they lived through winters.
Right.
And they had to cut down forests to have the agricultural stuff. And now we are benefiting from all that. But
Right.
it's just interesting how times change and things like
100%.
this come back because right now, like I said, you can really see how conservation, land management,
Right.
Habitat management improvement is
Right.
really on the forefront of all hunters' minds.
And like you said, it's the conservation. Like before we started, we were getting everything set up and everything. I was telling Chad that one of our family friends, that mutual Chad and I, have known this guy for our whole lives. Dad, known him his whole life, and DWR is telling him that on one of his pieces, it needs herd management.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling him, hey, you need to,
Have too many deer.
you need to thin some of these deer out because you're going to get into issues of disease and, like you said, there's only so much food.
Loss of crop.
There's only so much food in a block, in a square block of land. And when that population gets too big, those deer, turkey, whatever it is, they don't benefit from that. They don't benefit from having this huge, happy family of deer running around. They're actually, it's hurting them. You're going to see deer who are malnutrition.
Disease
is going to run rampant.
We've seen CWD kind of start creeping in. EHD is a big thing that's happened this year in our area. I mean, John, my boss, has found 9 or 10 deer that were laid up around the wetlands. That DWR thinks it was EHD.
Right.
We found a few at the farm.
Yeah.
Mom's found some down in Dinwiddie. Yeah. So it's here. It happens. God makes sure that everything stays in balance. Right. There's a balance.
Right.
And, a lot of people, which I've talked about and harped about before on other podcasts, a lot of people like to take humans out of the chain.
Oh, yeah.
We're an apex predator,
right.
But we have a conscience.
Right.
We are able to, decipher and sustain the other, tiers below us.
Right, yeah.
So you can't take us out of the chain of the food chain.
Right. And you can't take us out of the chain because, like you said, we're apex predator, and we have been since creation. Because if you told us today, no more firearm hunting, no more modern archery tackle, no more anything, I can promise you that everybody across, we'll just say the United States, we'd go back to figuring out how to make spears and stuff. Mm-hmm. We would hunt. There's no stopping us hunting. We would come back. It would come back to the old days.
It's just a part of our life.
Yeah, it is. If you told me I couldn't hunt anymore, turn me out to pasture.
Please.
Just turn me out to pasture.
Take the old spear to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because it's just the way of life for us. It always has been, always will be.
Yeah, and I'm sure hopefully everybody that's listening, I know they feel the same way, and we're all passionate about it. And, I hope that, everybody can kind of get something out of these podcasts, how they're going.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of do more like a formal Bible study going forward with either a guest or, Ben's going to be here. But, we do have 2 great show sponsors this year far.
Yes, we do.
East Coast Waterfowl there. We met him last year in August at the Richmond show. And really great guy, him and Seth.
Yes.
Great. We're really, they've their business has really taken off and been really successful here lately because Kent, over the last year and a half probably now,
Yeah.
has gone full time with it. They just did a brick and mortar store.
Yes, they did.
You can also order hats from him. He can do hats. I think he's only doing the patch hats right now with your logo.
Right.
With whatever logo you want. So he's diversifying. East Coast Waterfowl is a great product. We have them on now. We got them out front here, and we're going to be getting some more. He's got some great flags. He's got koozies. He's got all kinds of
stuff
T-shirts.
For kids. I mean, he's got anything you want.
And they're great designs.
Great designs. I mean, when you think it, oh well, that's probably about it. He comes out with another one, and then he comes out with another one, and then another one, and they're just good people. Like you're not going to find better people than those guys down there in North Carolina.
Yep. So
sit down and talk to them like you've known him your whole life.
Kent, I appreciate it, man. We're going to do our best to help, continue to advertise for you. Y'all go check out East Coast Waterfowl on Instagram, Facebook, any of your social media, on their website. And also, the second one we have is Bare Beans Coffee out of Canada.
Yes.
I'm going up there next September for the Manitoba Bear Hunt because they also have a bear outfitter.
Yeah.
But Will, Brandon, they have decided to support us this year.
Yes.
And they're going to be giving us coffee for all the podcasts. So,
and we thrive on coffee,
yes.
especially during hunting season. Thrive on it. Not big into energy drinks, but we thrive on coffee.
Ben drinks a black. I haven't got to the black part yet.
Oh yeah, black's the way to go, man. Then you get the
need a little sweet.
It's almost like people get into wine. You gotta stir around, sniff it, get it in your palate, taste all the notes. Yeah, feel it grow its legs.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
So I mean, if you want to check out them too, 5% of all their proceeds go to bear conservation in North America. North America, not just Canada, not just United States, but North America itself. So they do a really awesome job of bringing awareness. Now, I'm not going to say it yet, but they have a great product that's coming out at the end of January. I don't think Ben even knows about it yet, but we're going to be getting that in. And Will's going to be doing some membership stuff with Bare Beans Coffee. So, look at them on Facebook, Instagram. Go to their website. You can order from them. I think a lot of people enjoyed it at the show this past year. We had it there, and I think I had 16 bags shipped down. Yeah. Will gave us. And, going into your first show, I didn't want to take a whole lot of merchandise or things. We bought new podcast equipment. We had to pay for the booth.
We built the backdrop. I mean, we didn't really know what was it? 8x10 is what we had.
Yeah. Or 10x10.
Was it 10x10?
Yeah,
we didn't really know what 10x10 would look like when you get in this big building. So
or trying to get in a trailer.
Or trying to get in a trailer and then fit in a closed trailer. I mean.
Yeah. It was. And Morgan, she was. I told you should have cut it in two pieces.
Yeah, so. And then we realized we need a trailer size of Kent, so we'll go next time.
Yeah. But anyway, so Bare Beans Coffee, we sold out of all those bags when we were down there. People came by, they're like, we didn't have coffee in the hotel, or there's no coffee here.
We had a brewing every day. Yep.
So we're planning to be there again this year, and I think we might try to go down to Kent's show as well towards the end of August. But definitely going to have coffee there, Bare Beans Coffee. So look at them, look them up. We're going to be having them on the show. Probably going to do a podcast with them as well. So, but yeah, the first one, I think we're into it 43 minutes. I think 43 minutes to an hour is probably what we're going to try to do. Like I said, next week I'm going to start going through the Book of Mark. I think next week, we haven't got Ben's schedule yet. I'm going to have him on here as much as he can get on. But, we both have families and stuff. But we are going to have Ben Smith from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Pinstripes to Camo podcast, and he's a blogger, and he's also a baseball coach down there. And Ben has become one of my really good friends that I've never met. Never met face to face. He's invited me down for a gator hunt, but and I don't think you've talked to him yet, have you?
I have not talked to him. I've not spoken to him.
So Ben's going to be on. We're going to go through his season. We're going to go through, I think, his college and another college are having a big buck contest.
I did see that on social media. That is awesome.
He does a lot of camping and hunting, so I want to get into that because I think that's something really neat that we should all try to get on back into. But next week, we're going to do that with Ben Smith from Mississippi Pinstripes Camo. And, we're going to put our sponsors up. And, I really want some engagement. So DM us. Marshfield Outdoors on Instagram, Facebook, email. We can take that, marshfieldoutdoors@gmail.com. also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us, rate us. Give us 5 stars if you like the podcast. Leave a comment. I think, I haven't really been up to speed on how this podcasting stuff works, but I think that really helps us get out to more people. Start running us through different algorithms and stuff. So please, if you do like the podcast and want to hear more, rate us on there, give us 5 stars, and give us a message. So
Yeah.
Ben, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we're gonna reach a lot of people. I forgot that we're filming.
Yeah, we're having it on YouTube. Yeah,
on YouTube. I'm kind of bumming it today. It's a lazy day. I went into work at 2:00 this morning. So
well, it is Sunday.
it's Sunday.
9 o'clock?
Sweatpants, but I got on. I got ECW hat, shirt on. But I just want to throw out real quick. Beak Whackers, our friends at Beak Whackers, down in King George, Virginia, doing big things for wounded veterans. So just want to throw out to them too.
Yeah, and I actually got invited to come down there. So maybe. You might be going with me.
Sounds like a plan to me. But if you guys are watching this, I want to throw one out for y'all on that shirt there. Good people doing a good thing. Beak Whackers, waterfowl down there in King George, Virginia. But yeah, man, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
I think this format's gonna be neat.
I mean, it's you and me, like just being you and me.
Yeah, talking hunting, diving into our faith.
Some stories here and there. I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Nothing.
What could go wrong?
Well, I don't know about what that.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but
well, anyway, I really appreciate y'all joining the Marshfield Outdoor Podcast tonight, today, wherever you're at. Continue tuning in to us. We're going to try to put one out each Monday. Like I said, we'll have some commercials and stuff, but continue following us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and thank y'all. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to this year.
Yep, y'all take care now.